Ever feel like there's just not enough time in the day? Or maybe you've had that confusing moment trying to schedule a call with someone halfway across the world. Ever feel like there's just not enough time in the day? Or maybe you've had that confusing moment trying to schedule a call with someone halfway across the world. What time is it for them, really? Well, imagine trying to manage a country so vast it spans a whopping 11 time zones. That was the reality for Russia for a long time, making it the country that uses the most time. What time is it for them, really? Well, imagine trying to manage a country so vast it spans a whopping 11 time zones. That was the reality for Russia for a long time, making it the country that uses the most time zones on Earth. Let's rewind a bit. Before the late 19th century, time was a local affair. Each town set its own clocks based on the sun's position at high noon. This was called local mean zones on Earth. Let's rewind a bit. Before the late 19th century, time was a local affair. Each town set its own clocks based on the sun's position at high noon. This was called local mean time. It worked fine when travel was slow, but then the railways came along. Suddenly, trains were speeding across long distances, and this patchwork of local times became a logistical nightmare. Imagine a train schedule where every single stop has a slightly different time. Chaos. This is where the idea of standardized time zones came from. Time. It worked fine when travel was slow. But then the railways came along. Suddenly, trains were speeding across long distances, and this patchwork of local times became a logistical nightmare. Imagine a train schedule where every single stop has a slightly different time. Chaos. This is where the idea of standardized time zones came from. In 1884, the International Meridian Conference was held in Washington, D.C. This is where the world was essentially carved up into 24 neat slices, each representing 1 hour of the day. The starting point, or the prime meridian, was established at Greenwich in London, giving us Greenwich Mean Time. In 1884, the International Meridian Conference was held in Washington, D.C. This is where the world was essentially carved up into 24 neat slices, each representing 1 hour of the day. The starting point, or the prime meridian, was established at Greenwich in London, giving us Greenwich Mean Time, or GMT. From there, time zones were set as hours ahead or behind GMT. It was a revolutionary idea that brought order to a chaotic world. Now, let's get back to Russia. Why so many time zones? Just look at a map. Russia is absolutely massive. It stretches from its borders, or GMT. From there, time zones were set as hours ahead or behind GMT. It was a revolutionary idea that brought order to a chaotic world. Now, let's get back to Russia. Why so many time zones? Just look at a map. Russia is absolutely massive. It stretches from its borders with Eastern Europe all the way across Asia to the Pacific Ocean. When people in Kaliningrad, on the Baltic Sea, are just starting their workday at 9 a.m., folks in Kamchatka, near Alaska, are already winding down their day at 6 p.m. It's the same country, but they're with Eastern Europe all the way across Asia to the Pacific Ocean. When people in Kaliningrad, on the Baltic Sea, are just starting their workday at 9 a.m., folks in Kamchatka, near Alaska, are already winding down their day at 6 p.m. It's the same country, but their clocks are 9 hours apart. This incredible span has some really interesting consequences. For one, New Year's Eve in Russia is a marathon. The country starts celebrating the New Year in its easternmost regions, and the party essentially rolls westward, hour by hour. By the time Moscow pops the champagne, people in the clocks are 9 hours apart. This incredible span has some really interesting consequences. For one, New Year's Eve in Russia is a marathon. The country starts celebrating the New Year in its easternmost regions, and the party essentially rolls westward, hour by hour. By the time Moscow pops the champagne, people in the Far East have been in the New Year for hours. It's like a nationwide 9-hour-long New Year's wave. Managing a country this wide is a huge challenge. Think about national television broadcasts. Do you air a show at 8 p.m. Moscow time? If you do, people in the Far East have been in the New Year for hours. It's like a nationwide 9-hour-long New Year's wave. Managing a country this wide is a huge challenge. Think about national television broadcasts. Do you air a show at 8 p.m. Moscow time? If you do, people in the East will be watching it in the middle of the night, while those in the West are just getting home from work. To solve this, Russia has what are called orbita systems, which broadcast programs on a time-shifted basis to different regions. Politics and time zones are also surprisingly intertwined. For the East will be watching it in the middle of the night, while those in the West are just getting home from work. To solve this, Russia has what are called orbita systems, which broadcast programs on a time-shifted basis to different regions. Politics and time zones are also surprisingly intertwined. For a while, Russia tried to simplify things. In 2011, then-President Dmitry Medvedev made a bold move. He cut the number of time zones from 11 down to 9 and also abolished the annual switch to daylight saving time. The idea was to improve business communication and make life a little less complicated. While Russia tried to simplify things. In 2011, then-President Dmitry Medvedev made a bold move. He cut the number of time zones from 11 down to 9 and also abolished the annual switch to daylight saving time. The idea was to improve business communication and make life a little less complicated. He said it caused stress and illness, but it didn't quite work out as planned. People weren't happy. In some regions, the sun was rising incredibly late in the winter, like after 10 a.m. Imagine waking up and commuting to work in complete darkness every day. It was disorienting and unpopular, said it caused stress and illness, but it didn't quite work out as planned. People weren't happy. In some regions, the sun was rising incredibly late in the winter, like after 10 a.m. Imagine waking up and commuting to work in complete darkness every day. It was disorienting and unpopular. So, in 2014, the government reversed course. They reinstated most of the old time zones, bringing the total back up to 11. They also permanently switched to winter time. This back and forth shows just how much time zones are a part of daily life and identity. They aren't, so in 2014, the government reversed course. They reinstated most of the old time zones, bringing the total back up to 11. They also permanently switched to winter time. This back and forth shows just how much time zones are a part of daily life and identity. They aren't just lines on a map. They affect our sleep, our work, and even our health. The whole experiment was a fascinating lesson in how top-down decisions can clash with the natural rhythms of daily life. So, how does Russia compare to other large countries? The United States, including its overseas territories, has 9 just lines on a map. They affect our sleep, our work, and even our health. The whole experiment was a fascinating lesson in how top-down decisions can clash with the natural rhythms of daily life. So how does Russia compare to other large countries? The United States, including its overseas territories, has 9 standard time zones. China, which is almost as wide as the continental US, does something completely different. Despite its size, China officially operates on a single time zone, Beijing time. This means that in the far west of China, the sun can rise as late as 10 a.m. It's a politically standard time zones. China, which is almost as wide as the continental US, does something completely different. Despite its size, China officially operates on a single time zone, Beijing time. This means that in the far west of China, the sun can rise as late as 10 a.m. It's a politically motivated decision to promote national unity, but it creates some strange daily routines for people living far from the capital. The story of Russia's time zones is really a story about the struggle between nature, technology, and politics. It is about trying to impose a human-made order on the natural cycle of day-motivated decision to promote national unity. But it creates some strange daily routines for people living far from the capital. The story of Russia's time zones is really a story about the struggle between nature, technology, and politics. It is about trying to impose a human-made order on the natural cycle of day and night across a gigantic landmass. From the Trans-Siberian Railway trying to keep a schedule, to presidents trying to streamline the economy, time has always been a major player in Russia's history. So next time you're readjusting your watch for a trip, or trying to figure out a meeting time, spare and night across a gigantic landmass. From the Trans-Siberian Railway trying to keep a schedule, to presidents trying to streamline the economy, time has always been a major player in Russia's history. So next time you're readjusting your watch for a trip, or trying to figure out a meeting time, spare a thought for the complexity of it all. And remember, Russia, The country where you can have breakfast in one part, lunch in another, and dinner in a third, all at the exact same moment. It's a mind-bending reminder of just how big and diverse our world truly is. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this journey through time interesting, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more fascinating stories from around the globe. See you in the next video.